One of my favorite things in the world to do is watch Friends. I know it's been off for years and years. It's not even around, but I still find myself binge watching old episodes. And I was thinking about this today and thinking, it's the predictability of the friends in the circle, right? You have Chandler with his quirkiness, Monica with her type A of just everything has to be so neat and tidy and organized. It's Phoebe's ability to make you laugh at her silly songs. Ross always comes in with those smart comments, and Joey and him and his food, like it is just so hilarious. And of course, Rachel, she just brings everybody together, and it's just such this beautiful, cohesive team of people. And it's why I wanted to come on and share with you today that I have an opportunity for you to find your friends in the content creation space. So if you are thinking about creating your first or your next digital course, I don't want you to miss this opportunity because Amy Porterfield just opened the doors for registration for her Course Confident Bootcamp. And I'm actually offering a special bonus for anyone that registers for the Course Confident Bootcamp through my special link. So I want you to go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register. That's crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And what you're going to find when you get there is I have this special bonus private podcast series. It's called Money Mindset for Creators. So I want you to go register for Amy's bootcamp, download the podcast, and immediately start listening to it, because what this training is set up to do is to help you get your mind right about monetizing your content, making money so that you can fuel your content creation dreams. So go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp to register for Course Confident. And I cannot wait for you to find your friends and find the people that will be there for you. Do you see what I did there? Yeah, nice little friends segue connection. Go to crystalprofit.com/Amy-bootcamp. And I cannot wait to see you inside. Okay, let's get into today's episode.
Hey there, quick question for you. Has 2020 shaken you up just a bit? Maybe you've realized the fragile nature of your job or current business. If so, you are definitely not alone. I've talked to so many in my community that feel the same. Over this past year, you might have found yourself wishing you had a proven path to a more resilient revenue stream, ideally one that lets you do what you love on your own timeline. Over a decade ago, I created my first digital course, and since then, the online learning market has taken off. And before I say too much, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Amy Porterfield, former corporate yes girl turned successful digital course creator and host of the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast. I never could have predicted that my decision to create a course would mark the beginning of my journey building an 8-figure business. I definitely never could have predicted that 2020 would be the year digital courses became more popular and more important than ever before, with millions of people learning from home. This is just the beginning, my friend. The online learning industry is on track to grow to $325 billion per year by 2025. And there's plenty room at the table for you to create and sell a course based on your own unique brand of brilliance. You don't need to know it all, be a tech wizard, have a huge audience, or have a master's degree in teaching. All you need is a 10% edge, which I can almost certainly guarantee you already have. If you're curious or committed to finding out how you could create a digital course one time that you can sell over and over again for year-round revenue, don't miss the free masterclass that I'm hosting live right around the corner. This masterclass is all about how to create and launch a profitable digital course from scratch. And in it, you'll discover the 5 behind-the-scenes secrets to generate revenue year-round. Just for showing up live, you'll get a free resource to support you in building your email list of potential customers who can't wait to become your first students. I would love to have you there because I know just how life-altering this opportunity could be for you. Even if you're not 100% confident that you could really create a successful digital course, do yourself a favor and show up. I've seen too many incredible business owners surprise themselves with what's possible to let you sit on the sidelines. Worst case scenario, you'll decide a digital course isn't for you, and you'll still walk away with an incredibly valuable resource to grow your email list. Best case scenario, you'll realize this whole digital course thing isn't rocket science and that you do have what it takes. I hope to see you there.
Okay, I have to start this whole episode today just cracking up because I am very creative in the different ways that I brainstorm content and how I come up with stuff. And I'm always trying to kind of one up myself, right? And like a creative scene or like making a funny joke. And today, I'm just going to tell you, I just embarrassed myself because I was trying to start this off like really witty. And okay, for the record, I'm just sharing all the behind the scenes. I didn't actually have to tell you all this stuff because it's probably making me look a little bit dumber than I want to, but I love telling you all the behind the scenes things. But I wanted to start this off with saying I don't always geek out on technology, but when I do, it's podcasting or my online business. I know this is super cheesy, but the reason why I'm laughing is because I could not, for the life of me, remember what that original quote was, right? Because this line, I can imagine the guy, right, from the commercials, but I just remember it was a beer commercial. I don't know how old it was, if it was a few years ago, if it was 5 years ago. I cannot even remember because now all I can think of is like the spin-off memes that have happened from this. You have to know what I'm talking about. I hope that you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'm just going to feel like a complete idiot. But it's the commercial where the guy's like, I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. And it's like so serious. And now I was looking it up. So I'm on Google right now and I typed in, I don't always meme, and I'm being flooded with all of these memes and I am cracking up. And they're so funny. Oh my gosh. Like and most of them aren't even appropriate for this podcast, but I wanted to have a creative way to start this show. And I know you're probably like, Crystal, just please get on with it. You're wasting our time at this point, but it's true. I don't always geek out on all things technology, but when I do, it's usually podcasting and my online business. Okay, now I feel like I need to go create a meme of me. Like, I don't even know, because I can't grow a mustache. I can't look like that guy. And there's one that says, okay, I'm going to read this one to you. It says, I don't always have people tell me I resemble someone, but when I do, it's usually I resemble Kenny Rogers. And I'm cracking up because he does look like Kenny Rogers. But anyway, that's besides the point. I have rambled on for almost way too long. So we today are going to be talking about masterclasses, what they are, what they mean, and all the things. So let's get right to it. Welcome to the Profit Podcast, where we teach entrepreneurs how to start, launch, and market their podcast. I'm your host, Crystal Profit, and I'm so excited that you're here. Thanks for hanging out with me today, because if you've been trying to figure out the world of podcasting, think of this show as the time-saving shortcut you've been looking for. So let's get right to it, shall we? I feel like I deserve an award for the most nonsensical podcast intro ever of this episode, but I hope that you enjoyed that because I do. I just felt like I was just thinking of this meme the whole time. It's like, I don't always geek out on. Anyway, okay, I'm not going to bring it up again. We already wasted too much time today, but I do want to get right into what we're talking about, and that is the idea of masterclasses. So I wanted to share with you the things that I've learned about attending masterclasses and creating them, the free versus paid versions, and all the things. But before we even get there, I wanted to share with you the definition of a masterclass and what that actually means, because there's a lot of confusion. I feel like this word is thrown around a lot, especially since everybody started staying at home, and like the virtual world just exploded in 2020. And the word masterclass to me is a workshop that you attend that is free, but you are learning something of value. It's not something that you pay for, but it's something that kind of gives you a teaser into what someone could potentially teach you or what it would look like for you to learn from this person. So it's a step further than just watching a YouTube video about one specific thing, right? Because maybe one YouTube video would lead you to another one, and you kind of have to do like this patchwork of watching an entire playlist of videos before you ever get to the root of the content that you want, right? Tell me I'm not the only one that goes down a YouTube rabbit hole, and then I come up 4 hours later and I'm like, wait, what was my takeaway? What was I even doing? Why did I come to YouTube in the first place? Right? I know I'm not the only one. So a masterclass is someone teaching you something for a specific outcome. So it wouldn't just be, if you're interested in podcasting, I couldn't just say, hey, anybody interested in podcasting, come to my masterclass. No, that would not be an effective use of your time or my time, because it's too general. And whenever I think about masterclasses and whether I want to attend them or not, it really boils down to how specific is the topic of the masterclass, right? So I have done masterclasses whenever I'm launching my digital course or whenever I launched my podcast membership. I did a masterclass, which for those of you that are around my age or you grew up in the era of PowerPoint, right? Because PowerPoint kind of came onto the scene whenever we were in school. So I imagine it like a PowerPoint presentation that you're doing in front of people who are your exact audience. Like they are people that are interested, let's say, in your podcast topic or what you talk about on social media, or who could be potential customers of whatever your business is about. Okay, so are we on the same page here? Are you nodding along? I'm assuming you're nodding along. At least you're like, yes, Crystal, I got PowerPoint. Like at least we're on that same page. I can remember being a freshman in high school, and that was actually one of the classes that we took. It was called BCIS. It was Business Computer Information Systems. And I remember being so nervous about having to develop my first PowerPoint slideshow and presenting it in front of the class. And I remember spending so much time on the animations and the slide transitions that I wasn't prepared to even deliver what was on my slides, because I spent so much time on the transitions and animations and all that. So if you are of the generation coming up with PowerPoint, we probably have the same issues, right? Like we're just, presentations in front of the class was something that we had to do on an ongoing basis, which now in hindsight, I'm so grateful to have had that experience, because doing presentations and masterclasses comes a lot easier because I've been doing them since the early 2000s or before. And I just feel really comfortable. Oh my gosh, I just realized, well, that's been 20 years. I guess I don't like to quantify things sometimes in years because that makes me feel older. But anyway, like you get the picture, right? We are talking about a masterclass is a way for you to deliver information using a PowerPoint or Google Slides presentation that has information around the topic that you want to teach to potential customers. Now, where it can differ, and another word that's used a lot is webinar. That's another way. I don't really like the word webinar. I'm more of a fan of masterclass because I feel like webinar has in me, at least, as like a reaction to hearing the word webinar, I think of, okay, someone's just going to sell me something at the end and I have to just live through it. I just have to live through the beginning, and then kind of get to the end, and then I'm just going to drop off. Like the value kind of lowers for me when I hear the word webinar, but whenever my brain has a totally different trigger when I hear the word masterclass. Because I hear the word master, like, ooh, someone is like got the skills. Okay, I'm just going to tell you a bunch of stories today. Because now that I'm thinking about the word master, my dad has been a plumber almost all of my life. And he had to get a license to be a certain level of a plumber. Like you have an apprentice, then you have a journeyman's license, and then you have a master plumber's license. And we always used to joke that he would get his master plumber's license. He'd be like, oh, you got to call me master now. So that's just like, whenever I think of master, it cracks me up. And I think of my dad too, who is he's the most hilarious person that you will ever meet in your life. He is that funny. Okay, so back to masterclass. That's another reason why I like this word. So webinar can be used interchangeably with the word masterclass, but I prefer masterclass. And so I wanted to give you a definition of where I'm coming from whenever I talk about this word, because it's very important. And then now I want to tell you, I'm totally embarrassed to tell you this, but I'm going to go and I'm just going to move forward. And I hope that you give me some grace, because I like sharing the behind the scenes, even when they're super cringeworthy. And you may say like, oh, we need to feel bad for Crystal. She just was a poor, lonely spirit who had no idea what she was doing. So I get it. It's not a pity party, but I will say I have pity for myself when I first started, because I had no idea what I was doing. I just watched other people conducting their masterclasses and thought, I could figure that out. That looks simple. I can do this. Not knowing that they had a full team of people behind the scenes designing their presentations and setting up the technical equipment and helping them actually run the audio video whenever they were live. But I learned a lot of things along the way. Okay, so now that we talked about the definition, I want to tell you about how I have created masterclasses and what it's looked like for me doing a free version and a paid version of a masterclass. And I'm not talking about my attendees having to pay, because any masterclass I've ever done has always been free. I'm talking about me not paying for a software and me actually paying and investing in a platform that allowed for me to do different things. So let's start with the free version, because I know a lot of people are going to say, wait, I didn't even know you could do a free version of a webinar or a masterclass. What are you even talking about? Well, I don't really like to talk about this a ton, because I do not want you to do this. So I'm just going to preface this entire next thing I'm going to say with, I do not recommend this. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of headache. And I feel like it took me 10 times longer than it would had I just signed up for a actual software that did all the things that I'm about to tell you. Okay. So I do not recommend this, but I was looking for a free solution, and being the cheapest person alive, I did not want to invest in a webinar platform until I knew that I could actually make money on a webinar or a masterclass with what I was doing with my presentation. It's like I needed the proof of concept before I was able or willing to invest in a platform that did this. Okay. So that's my whole reasoning. I'm trying to give you my logic. I don't know if it was really logical. I'm trying to give you my reasoning for why I opted for the free version of doing my first masterclasses. So what I did is I set up a web page, right? So I have my own website. I was doing this on my WordPress website. And I just went down a Google, YouTube rabbit hole of how you can host a live video on a web page on my WordPress website. And what the solution that I finally found, right after hours of looking at YouTube video, was that I could embed a YouTube live on a web page, and I could send people to that web page whenever it was go time. Now, there are a few issues that you've run into here. First of all, you have to figure out the technology for doing a YouTube live. Now, this was 2017 whenever I first started thinking about doing this. I just was kind of observing. I wasn't doing anything to actively create a webinar. I just first started attending masterclasses of other people, and I kind of was like, oh, I wonder how they do that. But in 2018, I thought, you know what? I'm actually going to figure out how to do this on my website. And in 2018 is when I first started using WordPress. And in 2018, there were not services like there are today that make streaming to YouTube so easy. Okay, that was not available. You had to have OBS, which is this open broadcast software. You had to have that downloaded onto your computer and do these like streaming API keys between OBS and YouTube. And I had to figure all this stuff out. And I was really stressed. And I was doing all this myself. I didn't have anybody else helping me. And I didn't have an audience at this time, really. I was trying to grow my audience. So it was that much more stressful that I was doing all of this work on the back end and still didn't know if anybody was actually going to show up whenever I did one of these live masterclasses. So there was a lot of pressure I was putting on myself to get this right, even though I honestly didn't even know if one person was going to show up. So that was my experience with the free version. Is I figured it out. I embedded a YouTube live video on my website page. And the other issue with doing it this way was there wasn't an easy way to collect an email address for registration. So I had to create another registration page that was really complicated because I was using a different email service provider at the time. So I was using MailChimp, and I didn't really understand how to do MailChimp and embed a form. It didn't have landing pages like ConvertKit does, which is what I use now. So there's a lot of back-end techie stuff that made it a lot more complicated than it needed to be. So I'm just going to tell you, my very first masterclass, I was trying to sell my podcasting course, which it was still rookie podcasting. I hadn't changed over to profit podcasting yet. It was still branded with the old version. And I did my very first one.
Being a woman in business comes with its own unique set of challenges, but also so many opportunities. We get ahead by leaning in to what makes us different from business as usual. I'm Samantha Hartley, host of Profitable Joyful Consulting, inviting you to a special 6-episode series exploring the experience of being a woman in business. You want to hear from women consultants who've hit $1 million, who sell 6-figure engagements, or who've broken their own revenue ceilings? Yeah, those are my clients, and they'll be sharing too. Join me for 6 must-listen episodes that tackle key challenges for women consultants.
Follow Profitable Joyful Consulting on your favorite podcast app.
I'm actually trying to remember the topic. I could go back into my YouTube because it's still in my YouTube archives. Maybe I'll have to go find it and show you what it was. I don't think I deleted it. Hopefully I didn't. I'm going to go try to find it and link to it in the show notes. But I had one person attend, my mom, and I did this like patchwork thing called Chat Tango. And because I was like, well, if people attend, they need to be able to say something. So this Chat Tango was like an app that you could embed on your website, and it allowed a chat conversation to happen, but I didn't actually know how it worked. I only saw what it looked like on my end the users or like the back end, not the user experience that someone actually attending the masterclass. It was terrible. So I didn't realize until the second one and I did four masterclasses during this launch, that all of the chat that had happened from the previous ones were still there. So people could tell there was only one person there, my mom. And then the next masterclass I did, there was only one person there, and it was one person in my community. I knew who she was. So that was comforting to know that the person that was watching was someone that I knew. That gave me a little comfort, but it also made me really sad that there was only one person that showed up to my masterclass. Wah, wah. Like I said, I just have pity. Like, not pity for myself, Crystal, today in 2020, but back then, whenever I first tried out a masterclass, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going off of what I had seen other people do, and it was just, it was not a good confidence boost. Okay, like, let's just throw that out there. That's the free version. The paid version that I eventually switched to around November of 2019 is a program called Demio. Now, Demio can run anywhere from around $50 a month to $100. And I know you're like, whoa, that sounds super expensive. And I don't even know that I would ever want to do a masterclass. I don't know why I would need to. Just bear with me for a second, because I want to tell you, I had done a few more of these YouTube patchworked webinars, masterclasses, and they were so stressful. They were super stressful because I didn't know if the technology was working on my end. I had no way I could kind of test it, but I couldn't test it with the link that I was actually going to use to go live, because then that link would disappear after I stopped the broadcast. So that made it just so much more stressful. So with Demio, what I'm able to do is I can actually go in there, schedule everything, and they can actually handle all the registration stuff that I was trying to do myself. And it's just, I can't say enough amazing things about Demio making all the masterclasses that I have. I actually have an evergreen masterclass that runs all the time now. And I have been able to generate money with that masterclass that it pays for itself now. I don't even worry about the cost of the webinar software, because it pays for itself every single month, in that it's converting my course that's on Evergreen. So that's fantastic. I love that you have a great chat box in there and that it supports Evergreen. And you can do emojis and you can do like calls to action in there. And there's a lot of fun things. Maybe I'll do another one specifically about Demio. I think I'm going to be doing some YouTube videos on how I use it and how it's been really helpful for me. But I wanted to talk about this because the free version, while yes, it was free, it was costing me time and energy that I really did not have, because I could have been spending all that time and energy that I was trying to figure it out on making my presentation better to have a higher converting presentation, right? Like making it to where people were excited or just filling up the masterclass with people. I think I spent so much time on the tech and everything else. And when it was like finally ready, then I had only spent a small amount of time actually marketing my masterclass to make it successful. So at the end of the day, if you ask me, like, Crystal, well, would you invest in a free or a paid masterclass software? I'm going to tell you to go paid. And I want you to set a goal that allows for you to pay, like reimburse yourself with money that you make from converting people to, let's say, buy your product, sign up for your membership, however you're using a masterclass. Okay, like that. And this is coming from Miss Cheapo McCheaperson over here. I'm going to tell you too, it is worth it. It is worth your sanity to purchase a masterclass platform software like Demio. If you want to know more about Demio, go to crystalprofit.com/Demio and check out all the features that they have. But like I said, I'm going to be doing a YouTube video pretty soon about all the things. So that is, we talked about the definition of a masterclass. We've talked about the free versus paid. Now, I wanted to tell you about masterclasses that I've attended that have actually helped me so much in my business. Now, I'm going to tell you the names of these, and they may not actually be the full names because I couldn't find some of these, whether they've been discontinued or the people that created them originally, maybe they went in a different direction with their business. But I wanted to tell you some of the ones that I've attended in the last 2 years because they have absolutely helped me. And I didn't end up buying all of these products. So I wanted to throw that out there. Like, I've attended some of these and gotten incredible results just from attending these masterclasses. And I want you to think about that if you are in the stages of developing a masterclass or thinking that that's how you would eventually want to sell a product, a service, a membership, whatever that looks like. I want you to think about the takeaways that I'm going to tell you about these masterclasses. So the first one is, I actually attended one of Pat Flynn's masterclasses way back in the day. And I cannot tell you for the life of me what it was called, but I just remember it was about getting your podcast up and running. And the biggest takeaways for me was how to market your podcast in unique ways and like how to get the word out about your podcast. And I learned so much in this one masterclass. And I know it was for his podcasting course, but I didn't end up buying anything because I was so new to exploring the idea of podcasting. And I was just like, I'm not sure that I want to go all in and, spend a whole bunch of money on a podcasting course if that wasn't for me. So I attended his masterclass. I walked away with so many notes. I'm a note taker whenever I go to a masterclass, because it's my time. I don't have a ton of free time to sit down and watch an hour-long presentation and be doing 5 other things. If you get me to a masterclass, I'm absolutely going to pay attention. I'm going to take notes, whether it's in one of my, fancy notebooks. I say fancy. It is not fancy. It's my $25. Whoa, that's a bougie notebook. I do not have bougie notebooks. I have a 25-cent notebook from whenever I buy them when they go on sale for back to school shopping. But I have my notebook or I have a Google Doc, and I will keep notes. I will keep track of what I'm learning, and then I will go back to them and reference a lot of these notes. So there was a period in my business when I was first starting, I was attending all these masterclasses, and his was one I remember I got so much out of it, and then I knew the next steps I needed to take in my journey. And so that was a super helpful one. Another masterclass that I attended was all about organizing my time and my household. And I know that sounds like kind of a funky one. It's like, well, what do you mean? So Ruth Soukup, she is a blogger that I've followed for a really long time. I've referenced her many times on this podcast. I guess I don't always say her name. I always say this blogger that I've followed for a really long time. But she did a masterclass all about time management and organizing your household. And what she was actually doing was she was getting ready to launch her planner that I have talked about many times. She has the Living Well planner, and I've highly endorsed this for a long period of time because it is fantastic for managing your time and managing your household in a way that I had never seen anybody else with a planner do. And so I got so much, just ideas on ways that I could save time and energy throughout my day as I'm a work from home mom, like different ways to approach how I do the dishes and look at laundry and spending time with the kids and all the things that really just factor into my everyday life. So that was a huge, huge takeaway that I got from watching one of her masterclasses. And I ended up buying her Living Well planner. And it's still something I highly endorse for someone that is looking to have a little bit of help managing their time at home. And then another masterclass that I did was with Marie Forleo. And I cannot remember if it's 5 ways to write like non-sucky copy or something like that. So she has a program called The Copy Cure. And I remember sitting down and watching this, and I had so many aha moments. Again, because I was just brand new baby online entrepreneur, and I had no idea how to write emails and write headlines for posts and write captions on social media. And the things that she taught me in this were all about not sounding robotic and showing up in an authentic way that made me just sound like myself. And I have this one specific masterclass to dedicate so many of the things and the ways that I run my online business today, for sure. Because I just learned I got to sound more natural. I have to sound more like myself, because then people will relate to me and who I am, and not this like picture perfect, robotic sounding, like textbook copy that is all over my website. So that was a fantastic masterclass that I've attended. And then, of course, I cannot conclude this episode today without talking about Amy Porterfield and all of her incredible masterclasses. I can't even count how many I have attended of her masterclasses to date, because it's too many. Even if I already have purchased something that she was selling, I still attend her masterclasses, which makes me sound like a total stalker, like total like creeping on Amy. But the reason why is because every time I watch her, I learn something new. Whether it's about the registration process and how she does it, or how she makes me really urgent to show up live to one of her masterclasses, or even just the way that I feel welcome in her community. Like I said, I've attended so many, from her membership, her courses, from B School. Okay, I'm just gonna be really honest. Her B School masterclass in 2019 was what made me want to jump into the program. I was already on the fence watching Marie Forleo and all the things that she was doing, but her B School masterclass was so impactful, and she shared about her own journey and the results that she had gotten, and I was just totally blown away. I was like, yes, I want whatever you're talking about. Like, whatever's coming next, I want in. Like, the girl knows her stuff. She knows exactly how to teach a masterclass that you are just like on the edge of your seat. You feel engaged, you feel connected to everything that she's doing. And the reason why I bring up Amy last, but certainly not least, is because she is actually about to have a masterclass coming very soon. So if you are listening to this in real time, Amy is going to have, in the beginning of September, a few different masterclasses. It's all on the same subject, but they're going to be offered at different times. And it's all about how to create and launch a profitable digital course from scratch. It's the 5 behind-the-scenes secrets to generate revenue year-round. And the reason why I want you to go sign up for Amy's masterclass is because I want you to do all the things that I just talked about. I want you to show up and see what it's like for the entire process of a masterclass. This, if you've never heard of a masterclass before, if you've been listening to this, you're like, Crystal, I don't understand what you're talking about. This is like the one to go to. Okay, I could tell you to go watch my previous masterclasses. There's ones that I've done, but I'm going to tell you, like, I'm the B team. I'm the B team. Like, I'm the JV, junior varsity, showing up saying, okay, I know what I'm doing. Amy is like the star player that you put in at the end of the game. You're like, we got to make this work. We got to go for the gold. We need that Hail Mary. Like, she is the one that you want to watch. She's the one that you want to learn from, because anytime I've ever watched her stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, just tell me what it is already, because this is so good. And there's been several of her masterclasses that I've walked away from not purchasing what Amy was selling or promoting at the time, but I learned so much. And that's actually one of her values that I've heard her say over and over again is no matter what, I want people to walk away from one of my masterclasses being more informed, being more educated, and having more confidence that they know what to do. They know what their next steps are. So I love this about Amy. So I want you to go register for her new masterclass. It's brand new. I don't know that she's taught this before. Maybe she has, but it's not going to be in the same way. And I highly encourage you go check it out. So go to crystalprofit.com/Amy Class, AMYCLASS, and go check out this masterclass. If you're listening and it's way later than September 2020, then you've probably missed it. I don't know that there's going to be a replay on Evergreen forever and ever, but I really want you to go listen to this if you're listening in real time, because I want you to pay attention to every little detail that goes into the masterclass registration process, to the emails that she will send you to remind you to show up live, because it will be so worth it. Like, watching her conduct a masterclass is a masterclass within its own, right? I've told y'all about Russian nesting dolls, and that's what I think about. It's a masterclass within a masterclass about masterclasses. Like, boom, my mind just exploded, right? Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm totally, like, this should be a drinking game. Every time Crystal says masterclass, you take a shot, which is funny because I don't drink anyway, but you know, it's one of those things like masterclass about masterclasses. But that's all I have for you today, guys. I just wanted to kind of peel back a few layers on what a masterclass is, how I've used them, ones that I've attended that have helped me get results. And I really want you to consider thinking about a masterclass and what it could do for your business and how you approach selling to your audience. But that's all I have for you today. So remember, go register for Amy's masterclass, crystalprofit.com/Amy Class. And if this is your first time tuning in, I'm so happy that you are here with us. Would you hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to this podcast and leave us a rating and a review? Tell me what you liked about this show. Tell me what your favorite takeaway was from this episode, or let me know some of the other things you want to hear about on this podcast. But the show notes for this episode are crystalprofit.com/episode 184. I'm going to go dig through my archives and see if I can't find that YouTube video where that one person showed up for me all those years ago, but I think it'll be worth it if I can find it. So again, crystalprofit.com/episode 184 for today's show notes. And remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere. Hey, Profit Podcast listeners. Thanks for sticking around to a little bit after the episode to hear this special message, because I want to hear from you. We are starting a new segment called Fan Mail Shoutouts, and I want to hear from you, and I want to hear your questions. What do you want to know? What questions have you been dying to ask me? So here's how to make this happen. Go to the app where you're listening to this podcast right now. Go there. I'll wait a second. Okay. Now, once you're there, you're going to see a hyperlink at the top of the episode description that says, send Crystal a text message. And that's all I want you to do. Send me a text. It could be casual, informal. It could be totally anonymous. Or if you want, you can include your name and the name of your podcast or content wherever you are creating, and I will give you a special shout out in an upcoming episode. So again, go to the show notes for where you're listening to this episode right now, and it will say, send Crystal a text message. And I cannot wait to hear from you and give you a shout out in an upcoming segment of Fan Mail Shoutouts.